take the money and run. Go on, take the money and run.
So here we are, back again at North Pine Dam, aka Lake Samsonvale. Conditions are looking somewhat threatening, but there's a whole lot of water out there and some mighty big bass that are calling my name. So we might get a little bit wet, but the way I think of it, the fish are already wet, so they don't care. Let's give it a crack, eh? Off to the wild blue yonder. So I've been doing a lot of casting recently, and my shoulders and my back are all telling me that I'm getting a bit too old for that. So today I've decided to have a bit of a troll around, give the legs a bit of a workout, give the arms a bit of a rest. So I'm going to cover some ground today, see what I can find, and hopefully the answer to that is some thumping big bass. Let's see how we go. What I'm really hoping is that there's not a lot of weed around that's going to foul up my trolling lures, because there's nothing quite like weed to put a dampener on a day of trolling. It can make things very, 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 very frustrating. And that's not what we go fishing for. Get enough frustration in everyday life, you don't need it when you're fishing. It's always interesting starting a new session, because from day to day the fish's habits will change. What worked from one session won't necessarily work the next time. Last couple of times I've been here, the type of tactic that's been working for me was trolling in 7 to 10 meters of water, using similar depths and types of lures to that which I have out at the moment. So that's the sort of tactic that I've started up with today. If that doesn't work for me, then I might look to go either shallower or deeper. Change the colour of the lures or the type of lures that I'm using. There's a lot of variables that come into play. Yes, finally. I was beginning to think it wasn't going to happen. Been trolling around for a fair while now, looking at lots of fish on the sounder, and that's taken quite a while for that rod to buckle over. When it did though, it went off in a fairly good way. Be interesting to see what sort of fish it is and what size category. This isn't light gear, so that's a fairly decent run and a good bend in the rod. This is a 3 to 6 kilo rod. When you've got a decent fish on, it's a good idea to just take your time, trust your gear. Let the fish run when it wants to run. There we go, it's a bass. There we go, and a decent bass too, good one. And he's taken the Bagley's deep diver. Deep diving shad. Very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Not the biggest fish that'll come out of this dam, that's for sure, but a very good fish indeed. Just checking in for a tag. There's lots of dedicated taggers that fish this dam and have done for quite a few years, so there's every chance that if you catch a fish in here, there's could be a tag in it, so let's get the hooks out and have a good look at him. There's that lovely Bagley's Deep Diving 07. Deep Diving Shad continues to produce the goods. Look at that. Lovely fish, aren't they? Let's send him back on his way. See you, mate. So the rod that I was using then, that's the Okuma Seros. That's the 3 to 6 kilo medium. I find it perfect for trolling those big deep diving shads. And that's the Okuma Zman C30. That's 15 pound platypus platinum braid. And that's 15 pound platypus fluorocarbon stealth leader. I like to fish fairly heavy because I know that there are big beasts in here, and I want to make sure that I get them away from the nasty structure that they sometimes live in. Let's see if we can't get another one, eh? Oh, those clouds are looking more and more threatening by the moment. But if I can keep catching fish like that one, I'll stick it out, I think. There's no lightning, please. I can live with a bit of rain. No lightning, please. He got me! I'm bleeding! So the story behind the method that I caught that fish, or the tactic, I'd been trolling in 8 to 10 meters and been getting nothing. So on that troll run I decided I'd go that next step deeper, and I went out to the 12 to 16 meters and did a run at that depth, and it was showing much more activity, and I was still getting no hits, but I could see more activity on the sounder, so I thought perhaps that might mean that I had the right sort of area. So I continued along that path, and eventually I got the hit. So I'm going to test that theory and continue along that path, go in that slightly deeper section of water, and see if I can repeat the dose. What do you reckon? Amateur fish psychologist at work again. If you are going to do any trolling, I cannot recommend highly enough having your rods in front of you. Being able to see what is happening with your rods is just so good, without having to crane your neck behind you to see if you've picked up a bit of weed or see if you're getting a hit, anything like that. Oh, it just makes a world of difference. I'd recommend it highly. Get those rods out in front of you if at all possible. Yeah, I reckon that they like that. I reckon that they like that little Z-Man. First cast. I don't know what it is. I was having a bit of trouble getting them to bite on any of the bladed baits. I'd been jigging and jigging and jigging and getting nothing, and I thought, well, let's put on the soft plastic. The 3-inch Z-Man, scented up with a bit of shrimp. I don't know if it's a catfish or a bass, but it just got inhaled. First cast. Oh, that's lovely. I've been watching fish under me in the sounder, and I thought, oh, there's got to be something that's going to get them to bite. What is it? Yeah, catfish. I wasn't sure what it was that was under me. It wasn't eating any of the tail spinners, and I was tossing up whether to throw down a blade. Oh well, I'd put a bend in my rod, got the drag singing, and it told me what it was that was down there. Look at how fat you are. What have you been eating? Not much salad, I'm guessing. Yeah. Have you got any bass down there with you? Or yellow belly? Or is it just all your mates? See ya. Oh dear, you slimy individual. Oh well, only one way to find out if he's by himself or if he's got a lot of mates. Let's get back out there, I suppose. The fish. My plan to go in shallow with a slightly shallower diver, it's paid dividend. It caused a little bit of heartache while I figured out exactly how close I could get, but there's a hit. It's been a long time coming. I think it might be a little bass. It's a little 3 metre diving lure. There we go. Nice little bass. Come here, mate. I'm glad to see you. Thanks for coming on board. Don't spike me. I'll let you go. As soon as I get my pliers out. There we go, almost there. See you, mate. So, the 3 metre diver trolling in about 5 to 6 metres of water did the trick in that instance. I started in about 4 metres of water, but I soon found that the weed and the trees were far too thick and were coming up far too quickly in that depth, and I was getting snagged every 100 metres. So I needed to head out that bit deeper to give the lure a chance to swim for any period of time. Is that a fish? By Jove, by crikey, I believe it's a fish. She's been a long time between drinks, ladies and gentlemen. The sun has gone down and the moon has come up. Long ago somebody left with the cup, but here I am still fishing. What have we got? My little friend the bass. There we go. Little weed dweller. It's a 5 metre diver, that one. Where's me pliers gone? You just chill over there for a second, mate. Let go. Come on. Let go. See you, mate. Well, I wonder if that's the sign that perhaps the late afternoon bite is kicking in. It's 20 past 5. I've got to make my way back to the ramp for closing time, so I'm on the trail back. Go speed racer, go speed racer, go speed racer, go. So even though today has been pretty slow, little reward for effort, the good thing about fishing is that whenever you're on the water, you're a chance. So this troll back to the ramp, you just never know. Any second, the hit could come, and that hit could be anything from a 20 centimetre bass to a catfish to a brand new personal best 55 centimetre or whatever it might be bass. So yeah, that's the magic of fishing. You just never know.